Yo, what's up, junior high? Welcome to video number 2! Video number 2 of 3 videos. So today I'm going to show you how to use those 3 objects in your different sketches. Now, no, I could not use my dog as a found object. She will move too much. I need objects that aren't gonna move, like this, like the tape dispenser I showed you before. So please make sure the objects you move and use are not going to move on you while you use them. So can't use your pets, but you can use inanimate objects. Now I have my 3 objects that I found in my house, and when I'm doing this, I want to use them not all at once. I can have them in different drawings together. But I want to think about the placement of where I'm doing it. I want to think about my composition. That's the layout in which it looks on your whole paper. So when I'm doing this, I want to think about that composition, and I want to think about my positive and negative space. So what I draw, what my focus ends up being, is going to be my positive space. The area around my object and what I draw is going to be my negative space. Negative space, we can sometimes usually think about it as the background, but not always. So I am going to start with these scissors. If I'm going to start with these scissors, I want to think about what I can turn this whole entire thing into. What could I see when I change it and open my scissors? Do I see something different now instead? I maybe do, but I actually like them a little bit more closed. So I'm going to keep mine closed. I don't want to keep it up and down for myself. I want to kind of give it an angle. I want to give it a slant. And the first thing I want to really do is I want to outline my object. So I'm going to go ahead and start outlining my object, but I'm going to have to pause because I'm doing this on a device and I need both hands. All I've done so far is I traced my object onto my paper, just a brief and rough little sketch. I want to use sketching lines in case I want to erase, in case I make a mistake. Now I get to think about it and look, what do I see out of this? Because in the end, I will put this right back on top and I'll take a picture of what I've done with my object. So I'm going to start sketching a little bit of things to add to this. So when I'm looking at this one, I can hold it this time since I don't need to trace. I think I see a little bit of a wacky bird. So I'm going to give my wacky bird his eyes. And I can always clean up my lines, but if I use light lines, I can always go back and I can erase. If I don't use light lines, I can't do that. Maybe this is his eyelid. And you can use any materials you want. Maybe you just want to finish this with pencil. Maybe you want to finish it with pen. Maybe you want to finish it with colors. That's up to you how you finish it. It's really about the idea that you have behind it and how you're going to approach this. So I'm going to go to the edge of my scissors because I do have to bring my scissors back there when it's time. Now he's a really wacky bird. He is going to not be super detailed, but he's also going to have enough of that visual information in lines so we can see what's going on. And this is going to be his beak. So I'm going to keep his beak there because that's where my scissors are going to go. I'm going to give him a neck and a chin. And then I'm going to give him his little bird body. Maybe I want his head to be abnormally large, and he has a little body. I think that's pretty silly, and I think that works. That's what I have so far. Give him some legs. Now I can work into these sketches for a long time or just a little bit. It's up to you how much you want to do onto your sketches. And again, it's more about your idea behind it. Now, if I'm drawing a bird, he needs to have his little bird piece, whatever you want to call it, wing. Yep, that's what they call it. And now I have it there. And then if that's what all I want to do, then that's okay, because I have it all drawn out. Now I put it back on top, and I have a little bird with scissors that go down for its beak. Now with my pieces for my string, I ended up cutting one piece because I wanted to think of it as the movie Lady and the Tramp from Disney, and I kind of see them as noodles. That's kind of maybe what you saw with the yarn too, but I'm also going to use it as noodles, so I can take this and I can turn it into a bowl for my noodles. And I can keep working into it. I'm actually going to have to pause to sketch this one out because this keeps moving when I'm doing it with one hand. Here's my finished sketch of what I did with my yarn. So I made it a pasta bowl. I did have to look up a reference so I could make my Lady and the Tramp with their pasta bowl. I changed it a little bit. Their pasta was on a plate, mine is in a bowl. So I can keep working into this if I want to and give it more value and shading. I can also give this more texture with their fur if I wanted to keep working into it, and if I wanted to be really critical on myself, I could try to make my lady a little bit smaller or my tramp dog a little bit larger, because right now they're not quite the same size. So that's why we sketch out our ideas first and we learn from those mistakes if we want to keep working with this idea. Now here is my last one. So with this last one of this comb, it's up to me. What do I want to turn it into? What do I see it as? If I see it this way, I might see it as something else. If I turn it and look at it this way, I might see it as something different. Or if I turn it this way, maybe I see it as a fence, maybe I see it as a row of grass. That's up to you, but I'm going to look at it this way because I see it as an angry man's mustache. So I'm going to draw it as an angry man's mustache, so I'm going to try to keep it as still as I can because this is a pretty heavy object and I shouldn't have to let it move too much. So I'm going to start with my angry man's mustache, and I want to keep it nice and straight because he is a stern gentleman. So when I'm making his nose, I'm thinking maybe making it more of a large nose. He's had a hard day. Maybe it's been an even harder month or a week for this guy. He's got an angry expression. He's going to have some burrowed brows. Oh, the burrowed brows. I want to be aware of my line direction. I can go back and clean things up if I must or if I want to. I want his brows to connect all the way to that one nose. And he's going to have a long face. Remember where those eyebrows start, those proportions of the face. That is a principle of design. It's always going to have an easier side to work on and a more difficult side. You will have a dominant side that feels normal, and you will have a side that doesn't feel so normal when you're working on the other side. So for me, that's the left side. The left side's going to take me a little bit more time to feel just as good as I did doing it on the right. Try not to hook and catch your lines. I know it happens to us all, but you can always go back and change that and erase it. But these are just your sketches. This is just to get an idea of how you're feeling about it. Now, if I'm going to do his eyes, I want him to be a little bit cartoony. I don't want him to be too realistic. Maybe he's not an angry man. Maybe I'm feeling like I'm changing my mind. Maybe I want him to be more like a loving gentleman, like a loving lumberjack who's just had a day out picking some wood. Oh, his eyes aren't even. This one needs to be fixed and changed. And I don't have to go back and change it if I don't want to this second. I can always do it later, or I can just say, hey, I tried my best, and this is my sketch. This is not a final, and that's okay. I'm going to move his eye a little bit over. And then Yes, I want his eyes to look down. Thought about it for a second, and then I said, yep, let's have his eyes look down. If I had bigger paper, I could always show what he's looking at or what he is doing. Don't want to move my mustache a whole lot. So now he has his eyes. I can always add a little square for a reflection in that eye. Maybe he's looking at his mustache. I like that. I think he's looking at his mustache. Remember, when you do those reflections for eyeballs, if you're drawing eyeballs, you want them to go in the same light source. You want them to come from the same direction so it actually looks like he's looking at something. Now I can give him a little bit of eyelashes. Everybody has eyelashes, especially this burly gentleman with a large mustache, and they don't have to be too exact. Very sketchily. Very light lines, you can always work back into them, change them, rearrange them, who knows, you're the artist. I think his eyebrows need to be bigger. He's got this big mustache of a comb, he needs bigger eyebrows. Now let's do his mouth, and I think he should have, ooh, I actually want him to be shocked. See, as an artist, I keep changing my mind. At first I said he was angry, then I said he was going to do this, then I said he was going to be this, but I just keep changing my mind, and that's totally okay. You can do that too. Now I'm going to move his mustache just so I can do his mouth. Oh, now he looks so different. He needs the bottom of his mouth and his lips. And I can always go through, I'm going to change my lines, I'm going to rearrange them. And maybe inside of his mouth is coming out something else. I could get surreal with this if I want to. And I could have something else coming out of his mouth. So let's do... I'm going to put a fish in his mouth. Why? I don't know. Just felt like it. Now he needs the rest of his head shape to show that it's on there. And he needs hair coming from the tops of his heads. If I want to make this more detailed, I can. But I'm just showing you briefly. And I'm also holding my recording device in the other hand, which makes this a little challenging for me. He's got some ears. He's looking younger than I thought. Maybe it's because of his head shape. And I can keep working into it. I don't have to. It is a sketch. Ta-da! Alright, so just to recap, what you need to do for me today is to get those 3 sketches done. That's it. If you have anything else done along with that, having more sketches, that is awesome. But I just need you to get me 3 of those sketches done for today.